second it. All in favor?
So the only communications we have is the information on the zoning, planning and zoning of summer schools. Hyde Park is the closest one. Yeah.
Just gonna go along with it now. No, you are.
So, just let Tracy know if you want to quote any of those. Okay.
Here's Alan Future Father.
Thank you.
And here is a survey of what they're looking at. Mr. Higley's from the same application.
The old business, all we have here is the Nugent public hearing that we had earlier, and that has been left open until we get the remarks from the Ulster County.
Right. Philip?
Any questions about that? Okay. New business, Mr. Higley. I'll come around first. You're in charge again, Kathy. You want to address the board?
I'm here to support a role today. I'll defer to you, Mr. Brewer. Thank you.
All right, the purpose of this coming before the planning board is to start the process over again. The zoning board made it clear that the application needed to be different. So we pestered the DOT long enough to get their remarks and suggestions. And so all that has been addressed on these maps that you have in front of you. And it shows exactly how they want the curbing, how they want the one-way signs and the do not enter signs. So the application therefore is different. You'll need to go before the zoning board for the variances. And I think we have a list of those from last time.
Are you asking?
Do you have a list? I have a list of them.
I have
in
the
my file.
previous application,
Okay.
so what's on there?
I-
The application from last May, or April.
Okay, so I can add that list. So you have that list of variances that we asked for last time? We'll just add those to the, when the time comes to put it before the zoning board. Planning board doesn't really need that, or you should add that actually. Yeah. Remember we came up with a list of variances that needed last time?
Oh,
And then
I don't know.
Forwarded those
That
over
was
to the
both-
zoning board.
The list was before me, so I would have to look through the file for that. I just have the original application with the original variance request. So if you made a list to forward to the ZBA, it'll be in the file somewhere.
Yeah, that's
I'll
where-
have to find it.
That's where we're at. That's why we're before you again.
Can you recall any of the variances?
They were setback variances.
Just the one here.
No, we have a list. Well, on this one I've got the fact that the steep incline behind the farm stand prevents it from being moved back any further. Requesting a 20-foot variance in the front, 4/10 foot for parking space on the south side. Variance, 27.87 variance for, that one doesn't exist anymore. We took the storage rack off on the southerly portion, so that's not a factor anymore. And the area variance, that's the biggest one, is the area variance. And so the area calculation is on the maps underneath, it's underneath the sign designs. Shows the total area of the property, shows what's allowed according to our farm stand laws. So we show the retail space, the refrigeration space, parking. That was something that the zoning board, before I had just added up the parking spaces for the area for parking, but the zoning wanted the whole area that you would consider a parking lot. So that's all included now. And the shed, display areas, and I show the square footage of the existing house too there.
So this total is within the guideline?
No,
No.
that's why they need an area variance.
Oh, because the lot is not,
The size of the farm stand is bigger than what's allowed farm stand law. So we need the area variance. You see the area with the house is 6,910. Without the house, you subtract 1,337. It's still, it needs to be, the only allowable square footage is 2,687. So,
well, the parking square footage is an erroneous number because they cannot possibly park on every part of that parking lot. So I don't know why they're taking in the parking lot in a full amount of square footage when it only should be by the parking spaces.
well, that's what I
That's what they
had
asked you at the
said.
zone.
The zoning board said it had to be the,
Do you have a number without the lot included?
without what?
Square footage for just the spaces without the lot?
Yeah,
Do
just
you know
for
what that
the
is?
parking spaces.
Not now, I used to.
Oh.
I mean, they won't give the variance unless we show it at parking lot.
Not to interrupt you, is it a common procedure to include the parking spaces of the size of the business lot?
What's that?
Is it common practice to include the parking spots as part of the property line, part of the property, part of the building property?
The farm stand rule spells out that the parking is included as part of the farm stand.
Yeah.
Residential parking would count right down in this case, because they have the house on the lot, and they have 3 vehicles, let's say, in there all the time, that are used exclusively for residential. Wouldn't that be an omission that could come off the farm stand portion, because it's not being used for
Well,
farm
no,
stand
I'm
use?
saying that the zoning board insists that the whole parking lot has.
Yeah,
to
but
be
the part of the parking lot is definitely used for residential for the house.
Is this a public hearing?
No, I'm just trying to add a helpful comment.
Just a public hearing? No. Then
Okay, Bob.
If it has to go for an area variance, then, that's what they insist on.
Yeah. We had that listed last time.
On the parking
He needed a variance last time for the area also.
Yes, but because it's an undersized lot.
Yeah, according to the way it's calculated, the farm stand can only be 2,687 square feet. That's up in the area.
I'm looking at the front here, it has an arrow coming, is this a theoretical traffic pattern, or
That's the
you,
proposed, yeah.
or you must come in this way?
Yeah. Yep, you have to come in this way and out that way.
And you cannot park here.
Right, that's why the signs are going to be set up such that the sign's going to show one way, which way you're going, and there's going to be a do not enter sign, depending on which side you're coming in or out of. So, yeah, that's all the design from the DOT.
I think it is impossible to do anything else. I mean, are there barriers here that you can't?
There's a curb there. That's a curb.
Okay, so you must go in this way.
Well,
Come out that way. You
That's
can't
what
just go
DOT
in.
wants, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's what you're proposing.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be curving and that'll be paved from the shoulder to the property line. So, I mean, we understand that nothing can be approved, the way it stands, it has to be denied by the planning board, and we can go before the zoning board for a variance.
I make a motion, we send this plan and application to the zoning board for an area variance.
It's more than just area variance. There's setback variances. I would say,
Variances.
Okay, then
We have-
we'll send it to the zoning board for review.
the same list that we had
Variance
before.
review, yes.
Variance review.
With the same list of variances we had last time.
Alan, was that you that seconded that? Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. Kathy Jordan? Yes. John Horn?
Yeah.
Joanne Kell?
Yes.
Alan Shiner?
Yes.
Cliff Rabacco?
Yes.
Mrs. Beth?
Only if you don't want them.
Well, you can sit back. It's gonna be your photo copy and then you'll have it.
We have copies.
That's how I keep them all piled behind my desk. Big stack nicer.
Tracy, with this referral, if possible, go before the zoning board.
I'm gonna try. I don't know that we'll take it because it's not in 10 days before.
Right. Yeah, I know that we're submitting a separate application initially to the zoning board. It needs to be changed before the, or 10 days, whatever, it is, before the meeting. With a referral from the planning board, I was sure that.
Still pending, but I will check because if they're willing to accept it, then I'll send all the packages out tomorrow so that they get everything.
Okay,
Right.
okay, yeah, that's perfect, and then that way I'll,
And I'll let you know.
yeah, you can use all my contact information.
Yes.
Okay, perfect,
Okay,
thank you.
all right.
Can you email me this copy already, right? Some kind of PDF format.
Thank you all. Get one break.
I thought I might have a rubber band, but I didn't see one.
The next one we have is the Varga property.
Just have these two right here, but I think everyone
Johnny said he used to
had a
be.
copy of that. Workshop. Yes, they're in there. You have one folder, so you don't.
Thank you.
What this is about is a lot line revision between two properties. There's a driveway which comes onto the Varga property, which is on Mr. Rajay's land right here. And he's agreed to convey this strip, he signed the maps agreement, and he agrees to this whole thing, to allow the driveway to exist. Now, this retaining wall comes around, and there's a beautiful flower garden that comes into this corner of this too. That's all put up on stone. It's been there for quite some time. Nobody was aware that this land wasn't Mr. and Mrs. Vargas' land until we surveyed it. These houses have been in there since I think it was about right around 1950. Danny Klein did the subdivision. The buildings were built back then. It's been there for quite some time. And everybody's lived to it thinking that was where the lines were. It's a very friendly agreement. There's no hostility. The neighbors are friendly. It's something that they want to do and they want to do it. And he wishes to sell this property, wants to clear up this issue prior to the sale.
There's no encroachment of well or septic
No,
across
the
this?
building is actually way over here. It drives in about here. It's probably 120 feet off this line, 100 to 120 feet off.
Remember during the workshop meeting, we had an aerial, did you see that?
Yeah, but it was, it's hard to tell from those.
Yeah, it's quite a ways, to his residence from this property line. Absolutely. Set it on your rod right here, and you can see this line, you can see that the corners are there. If you stand on this, you're nowhere near
Right.
any buildings, any structures, anything there. There is one omission that I need a distance in here, and I can't believe it should be sitting right there. It will be right there. That distance needs to go on the map, and I would ask you if we could get to that, we would approve it subject to me putting that on the map and do it tonight. I mean, that's one thing I know needs to go on. If you wish, have an approximate SDA. I can't certify where the sewage system is. I know there's no well on this strip because, like I say, this has been monumented, and this line, I have looked up this line. There's no well or anything on this line for this residence. You know where the well is on your neighbor's property, Steve?
It's a spring.
It's a
I
spring.
do, it's in a driveway.
It's in his driveway?
It's in his driveway.
Oh, then that won't be an issue because it's a spring in the driveway. Like I say, these houses have been there a long time. Most of these houses on this hill are fed by springs. That's all the houses are. It's not just one or two of them. A lot of them are. The neighbors behind you as well are fed by the spring that's up on the hill. And I think there's 3 houses fed by that spring. One of them is Paul Pryor's house, their house, and another house up in the back. They're all fed by that spring. But a lot of these are, it was old cisterns put in, and they've been using this water for 50, 60, 70 years in some cases, and they still are using it currently today.
I don't have any problems with giving this final approval contingent on showing what distance that is along the road that's being changed. That's missing there, like you said.
Yeah.
And also, we do need for you to show us the location of the building and a general idea where that septic is, just to,
I believe it's going to be in front of it. Right in front of the building.
Front of the building.
Yeah, I think it's got to be on that little flat clear area
Yes.
at all. I don't think there's any other place they could have put it.
just show that.
And I'll list it as approximate SDA because no problem.
I mean,
I can,
that's all I see. Anyone else have any questions?
Those are the three
Those
things
are the
that I
things
had.
I had down.
Okay, septic well, relationship with house, size of lot, and distance from lot line.
The other structure?
Because we established it as R5, that's an R5,
Which
These
the,
are all
and a
pre-existing.
75-foot setback.
Yeah, but they're all pre-existing, non-conforming.
Yeah,
The
but
house
you're-
is
you're
75
moving
feet,
the property
right,
line.
or this house,
Yeah.
yes. I
what's
think
the
we're gonna be up
setback?
75 feet required there. You said it's about 100.
Do you have an idea of how,
These lots,
3 acres, right?
these
Oh,
lots
5 acres.
pre-existed any zoning of any time at the time the buildings were constructed, so again, I mean, I'll show it on there, but it's something that I don't think you have to adhere to, because if they don't adhere, you know, like, the garage is not, what would the garage be listed for a setback here? This one.
That one will be required.
The zoning will be required under today's requirements.
75 foot?
And you can see we don't have anywhere near it, so I will show this one too as well, what it is now from the
this
new lot.
property of the other property, do you have an idea of how big that property is?
Yeah, it's a little over 2 acres, and nothing up there is,
It's 5, I realize that.
nothing is in the zoning district at all. And as I mentioned earlier to you, before the meeting started, this is in a designated area to receive sanitary wastewater treatment by New York City, a subsurface treatment system. And it's in a collection system. This is one of 2 that were adopted in the MOA for the town of Shandaken, one being Phoenicia, the second being Shandaken. And at the time that comes, the sewage systems, it'll clean up these small lots. And the board may wish to, at some time at that point, look to change the zoning on the area in it, because there will be infrastructure there that can make these lots come closer to conforming with regulations, new regulations, such as building setbacks, size of the lots, and so forth. And I think it would be a good thing.
Well, you know, Bob, we're also constricted, we're not supposed to make lots smaller.
Well, we're trying to make the smaller lot a little bigger and trying to get away from the garage, trying to put the driveway over. We're not trying to, and as long as we have the 75 feet from the house, which I feel we do, and I'll show that,
Yeah.
then
I mean, it's
then
not
think
that
we're-
much,
No,
0.495 is not.
no, and it's a sliver, it's nothing in the back.
I don't, according to this aerial, it's gonna be really close.
I'll go up and shoot it now, and I'll show it.
Yeah,
on the
we
map.
need to show it.
But I don't think it's gonna be, I mean, if we went up and looked at the rod, you'll see that it's over 75 feet, because you can see up through there. See, it's going on an angle to the back corner. It's when you get up off the road, the house is what? How many feet off the road is the house? Off the edge of that road, off the edge of the house.
Which house?
The house on the lot next door.
On next door,
Yeah.
about 30 feet. No, I mean, that's no problem, but we're creating a new line, and that's the difference. This other one's already existing.
See, on a 1 acre lot, as you know, to say 75 feet from property lines, you're gonna find that every one of these, probably none of them comply
Yeah.
with your current zoning regulations for this.
By moving
District.
it the way you are putting the garage 75 feet away.
Yeah, we're just making that in.
But,
We're just making that one
but
work.
I think you can post with this, but it's
As long as it, we
6
just
of
can't
one,
create
half
a
dozen of the
problem.
other.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one is just gonna conform with that one.
So we need to show that
Okay, we can show that on the map.
the structure, the well, the approximate septic area, but most importantly, the frontage.
Yeah, the frontage, absolutely.
So entertain a motion to approve this contingent on neighbor's house location, septic, approximate well, and the frontage dimensions shown on the map.
I'll make the motion to approve contingent upon those 3 things. Did you get those, Tracy?
I have 4 things: structure, well, septic, and frontage.
Can we change the well to spring?
Water
Neighbor
source.
says water source, yeah, because there is no well. I can't conform to that.
I'll second.
All right, so that was by Cliff, second by.
Yeah, yeah.
Alan Shiner,
Yes.
Clifford Buffo.
Yes.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Bob.
Any, no, those were taken out of file. Those maps. You guys were just looking at.
Well, he's gonna bring you along.
You need a map?
You need to bring us new ones.
Yeah, I know, but I need to have the one that was originally filed with the application. I'll have one, I have one. Yeah, no, that's not the original. No, they were just color copies.
Should be. You all set? We have Foxfire Mountain House, we discussed during the workshop, and last meeting we went to the county, correct?
Yep.
And we haven't gotten that back from the county yet, along with another project we had.
No report back yet.
Bob, do you have any information on that?
I think their main concern there was laundry.
Bob is representing the county,
But other than that, I don't think there was any concern.
And then I know they did away with the lease you had, right?
Yeah.
For the laundry, but there's still laundry.
So we have an update.
Okay.
Okay, so, we got a letter, formally from the zoning enforcement officer, building inspector, about the laundry being a violation. And since then, Mr. Trojan has provided the CEO over there at the Emerson Resort with, a letter indicating that there is a violation and that they needed to cease operations. We have a copy of that letter we can submit for you tomorrow, email it in or whatever. But what we're here for primarily is to see if we can get a date certain for the public hearing so that we can, have an appropriate notice for the Emerson. It's kind of sudden, and obviously they'll need to suspend their operations prior to any formal special use permit being granted. But if we could get the public hearing at least scheduled for a known date, that would be greatly appreciated.
We have the same situation for you, for another applicant for a farm stand, which is for the, we're waiting to hear from the county for him too at the same time. So what we told him was, as soon as we hear from the county, we'll set up a special date for a public hearing. And so we'll have both you and him on that, as far as I can see. Does anybody have any input on that?
I think that's a good idea.
I mean, I think that given the time frame for which you need to notice the public hearing and the fact that you can keep the public hearing open if you don't have all appropriate information, like the county report, it would be really good if we could just